Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we're going to be finishing up our series on how you can get to your dream life and still feel terrible. So if you have not already done so, please go back and watch part 1 and 2 because, so basically in those videos I just sort of explain my experience with this and winding up in a place where I got to what I thought was my dream life. Right? Living in Thailand, working on my own company, having the love of my life, all of these things that I thought were going to make me happy, health that I never thought I would have, and all these things, and finding out that I actually felt even worse. And then in the very end of the last video, I talked about the fact that it was because my value system hadn't changed. I still was valuing a whole bunch of things that were out of alignment with the truth, that were out of alignment with who I was, who I am, how I'm living. And so I told you I was going to go into that in this video, but let's just kind of get to where we were, which was I realized I was living in alignment with, I was still holding on to old values, that I was no longer living so much, but still trying to live. So I'm going to talk about that more today. And this is this is the main reason that I was miserable, was that my values hadn't shifted to match the new life. Now, in today's video, I think it's going to be a bit longer because I want to give you guys a lot to chew on and a lot to think about. And because this idea of changing our values and really getting to a place where we can actually be happy in our lives is not so simple. And there is a lot of complexity to it. There's many different systemic issues that all play into this. And if we don't take the time to really look at the parts and the components and what's going on and why we have the values that we have and what is actually required to change our value, this video series is just going to be fluffy and self-help and not actually, right? It'll make you feel better for the minute because it'll sound like something you can quickly and easily do. And then you won't feel any better because nothing's going to change, okay? Because the bottom line is changing your values is difficult. This is going to be difficult. This is going to be hard because, number one, you have to be able to even identify what your values are. You have to be able to identify why they're not working for you, which it's going to be obfuscated. It's going to be hard to see why they're not working for you. And you're going to have to then realize where they all came from and kind of the roots of them and how it's a systemic thing in your life. You're going to have to see where it's affecting you on all these levels you didn't know that it was affecting you, which is going to take a lot. And then you're going to have to do the work of changing them, which is also going to take a lot. So I want to start this video by saying, this is not easy work. And this is not necessarily going to be a feel good right now video. Because, in our world, we're addicted to quick fixes. We're addicted to the thing that's going to make me feel better right now. And I believe, what I have seen anyways, is that these things, these quick fixes, you're in deep amounts of existential pain, and it's 5 steps to heal your existential pain. It's actually making things worse for us. It's these things that are helping us, and I'm going to get into this, right, that are helping us feel like we're doing something when we really aren't, is actually making the process harder and keeping us trapped longer, okay? So this is not necessarily going to be a help you feel good right now video, but that's because I want to help you feel good long term. I want to actually help you feel good. And I know what that takes because I've had to do it in my own self, okay? So that's that. So let's talk about values and how we get these values and why these values are blah, blah, blah. The first fundamental principle that I want you to understand about life, right? And we've talked a lot about this in all of my videos essentially, but we're going to put it in slightly different ways because that's how we do things. And learning is often easier when we hear it several different ways, right? That life speaks to us, reality speaks to us in pain and in pleasure. Yes? We are walking around in the world and we are feeling pain and we are feeling pleasure, and this is how the human vessel understands that which is life generating and that which is life degrading, because we are inherently a part of life. So this is the first thing we need to understand. We are psychology, we are a mental body, we are also biology, we are a physical body, and with those two things, we have emotion and we have feeling, right? Those two kind of like the physical with the mental combining to create the emotional. We have all of these things. We have all of these faculties, and we are alive. We are dynamic, changing, growing, expanding, responding to stimuli. We meet all the criteria for life as a human being. And this is something that I believe we have lost an understanding of in our culture. And this is just the simple fact that life wants to live, and life wants to keep going, and life wants to grow, change, and evolve and expand. This is what life wants. And so no matter if you believe that there's an ultimate purpose to the universe about understanding and growth and expansion, and it's all consciousness, the whole of consciousness is expanding itself, or if you're like right down to just, I only want to talk about the practicalities, life wants to live for the sake of living, doesn't matter. Same effect, same outcome. Life wants to live. So that is the main priority of life. We want to live. We want to learn, we want to expand. And I believe that if everybody figured out, if they even just sat there and like, why do I want what I want, right? Even if we're like, I want money, I want fame, I want fortune, I want all these things, I want enlightenment. The reason you want that is because you have an understanding somewhere inside of you that it's going to give you a better opportunity of survival. It's going to give you a better opportunity for staying alive and continuing to have this experience. So and even people who want to kill themselves and who don't want to stay alive, who have this feeling of like not wanting to stay alive, you have to look at their behavior. Look, even yourself, if you're someone who's saying, I'm suicidal, I don't want to live. But look, you're still doing things that are making you live. You're not just laying in your bed, starving and letting yourself die. There's still a drive in you to get up and go to the bathroom, to watch a video, to eat food, to talk to somebody, you might feel like it's impossible. You might feel very desperate. You might feel very much like there's no hope for a good life, for a happy life, for a life where you can feel great. And this is part of the reason why you feel like you kind of want to go. But then again, you're not gone. And you're still doing things, unless you're literally laying in bed, not watching this video, because that's part of life. Yes, because to even watch this video is looking for some hope to help you live. You are still trying to live. And so this is, right, I know this sounds like where are you going with this? I thought this was about living my dream life. We just have to first understand some fundamental things, which is life wants to live. We want to live. And so when we are looking at pain and pleasure, okay, all we really need to see is that true pain, that which causes us pain, is showing us where we are out of alignment with that which is going to allow us to live. That is what causes us pain. When we are killing ourselves, when we are cutting our nose off to try to save our face, when we are cutting our nose off to spite our face, when we are doing something that is causing damage, we are in pain. When we are doing things that are in alignment with keeping us alive so that we continue to grow, learn, expand, evolve, change, or just whatever, even if you want to go totally down to nothing, just keep living, that's what feels good. That's what pleasure is. True pleasure doesn't come and go. Okay, so we're going to move on with this, and that's this. Okay, so at the fundamental base level, we want to live. We want to keep living. And whether or not you have any kind of meaning for why you want to keep living, the thing that feels good about life is that which propagates life. The thing that feels terrible about life is that which is killing life. Now, in our culture and in the way that we've been raised and in this culture that we live in, that is shadows of truth, okay? So I'm no longer going to call the culture, the matrix or whatever, lies, because I feel like that word has too much attachment to it, okay? What a lie really is simply a piece of truth that is being confused for the whole truth. So a lie is not something outside of truth. Okay, this is why this whole, if we look at the matrix and how it's working, we just do the opposite and we'll be great. No, it doesn't work that way, because there's no such thing as anything that doesn't contain a seed of truth. We cannot say that we are seeking truth and seeking life if we are looking to reject something outright, because everything is connected. Everything is fundamentally a part of truth. Where we are getting lost and where we are finding pain and out of alignment with truth, and what we really mean by that, is simply we are confusing a little part of the truth for the whole truth. So for instance, if we look at something like the diet industry and we say, drink green juice, this is good for you. And we're like, okay, or how about a better example? Raw foods. Raw foods are good for you, so just eat raw foods. And that's all that there is to the equation. Okay, that is a death cycle, because raw foods are definitely a part of what makes a human body healthy. Raw foods are a part of what is going to help propagate life. Raw foods are a part of what is going to help us live. However, it's way more complicated than that, okay? It's not just about eat raw foods and you're fine. We have to look at your lineage. We have to look at where you're at right now. We have to look at your specific history, your actual history. So your lineage being your family history, the body you came in with, which wasn't perfect, wasn't designed for raw foods, well, wasn't prepared for raw foods because of how far away from natural it is, due to layers and layers and layers and years and years and years of incorrect living, out of alignment with truth living from your family lineage that handed you cells that now aren't suited for a raw foods diet. So there's that lineage. Then there's what you did. There's the food you ate, the air you breathed, the toxic radiation you have taken into your body. So there's all that. There's your taste preferences. There's the climate you're living in. There's your mental emotional state currently and how much life force energy you can even conduct right now. There's how much of the toxic waste you're removing from your body or not removing from your body. There's how much you're moving. There's so many moving pieces that if we just say raw foods is the way to go, everyone should just be on a raw foods diet, we have obfuscated the truth because we have taken a piece of truth and made it the whole truth. You see what I'm saying here? So this is the big thing that we need to understand. There isn't wrong information. There's simply information that's out of context. So if we're looking at the awakening process and we're looking at self-love and we're looking at all these things and you're saying, yeah, there's contradictory information. Even in health, there's contradictory information. In spirituality, there's contradiction. Why is there so much contradiction? It's not contradiction. It's context. It's every bit of information is true for a period of time in a specific place. We've talked about this in another video, right? Why not all advice is true and not all truths are for you right now. Really what we're saying is not everything is the whole thing. All of it is just a piece of it. And not all of it applies to you right now. And as we start to evolve and grow and change and really start to get onto this awakening thing, you're going to start to see that the apparent contradictions that you were seeing in your reality weren't contradictions. They were actually two poles of the same idea that you just didn't know how to unite, right? You were seeing north and you were seeing south and you were saying, well, if there's a north, then that must mean that south is wrong. But if south is right, that must mean north is wrong. And instead, what we need to expand into, this is why we say that awakening is about becoming more complex, ordered, and structured, is that you can zoom out and you don't have to say, okay, I can only understand north and that means I have to get rid of south. Or I can only understand south and that means I have to get rid of north. And you can zoom out and you can say, oh, these two things only exist as part of one another. If there was no north, there could be no south. If there was no south, there could be no north. And it is through knowing both south and north that I understand both, that I understand the picture. So we start to understand why we have these bits of truth that we learn. We learn bits of truth, the little puzzle pieces of truth, in order to better understand the whole. If we don't take the thing apart, and we don't understand, like for the body, an example, right? If we don't take the body all apart and figure out how each little thing works, we don't really understand how the whole thing functions as a whole. We have to take it all apart see how each thing works, and then see it in the context of the whole to understand the whole and each piece. So you see, right? If we are looking at the liver, there's only so much we can understand about the liver in the context just of the liver. Once we put the liver in the context of the rest of the body, yes, being a part of a whole, we understand more about it. The more we, so this idea, right, that as we learn about each individual part, we learn more about the whole. And as we learn more about the whole, we learn more about each individual part. So it's both of these two understandings that create a complete understanding. So what we are doing in this life is we are learning through learning the little bits and then putting them together with the other bits and seeing how that affects the other bits and then seeing how that affects the whole. We're looking at the whole and seeing how that affects our understanding of the little bits, and that's what we're doing constantly. Okay? So this is what growth is. This is what life is. It's taking more and more pieces of this reality puzzle, understanding how they work individually, putting them together to understand how they work in the whole, and seeing how that affects what we see on the individual, right? And seeing how that affects how we see the whole. It's the more we understand about both of these things, the more we can expand. And then from there, if you watch the creativity series, you've seen that from there, as we understand how the reality works better, and we understand ourselves better, right? So the whole and the whole and the little piece, you're the little piece, the whole of everything is the whole. The more you understand about yourself, the more you understand about reality. The more you understand about reality, the more you understand about yourself, and then the more creative you can be within that, which propagates life, right? So life continuing to live requires that it evolves, grows, and expands. Nothing can stay stagnant. It's either devolving and dying, or it's growing, learning, changing, evolving, and expanding. So if we want to stay being alive, we have to be learning, growing, changing, evolving, expanding. And if we want to feel good, we have to be staying alive. That's what we talked about with the pain and pleasure. Okay? So that's that. Now, where we get all jumbled up is we have obfuscated what pain means and obfuscated what pleasure means and what pleasure is and what pain is. So this is part of our first little value mess up thing that we're going to start to talk about as we go on. So let's just take that, okay? So just remember, we all want to live. In order to live, we have to be learning, growing, changing, evolving, and expanding. In order for that to be happening, we have to be learning. Yes? In order for that to be happening, so this is what makes us feel good. That is where pleasure is. Anytime we're learning, growing, evolving, changing, expanding, we're feeling good. Okay? And in a sense that even if this learning, growing, changing, evolving, and expanding is hard, even if it's difficult, even if it's challenging, even if we're not having a good time necessarily while we're doing it, there's still going to be an underlying level feeling of rightness, of this underlying joy, even in our sadness, even in our pain, even in our anxiety. There's going to be this feeling of rightness, that we're heading somewhere, that we're getting somewhere, that this means something, okay? When we feel completely lost and confused and hopeless and desperate, that's what's showing us we're not seeing something. We're not on a life path, we're on a degradation path. If your pain is hollow, like there's nothing under it, there's nothing that seems productive about it, even if you can't see what's productive about it. If you tune in and your pain just feels really hollow, that's letting you know, okay, I'm on a death cycle. If your pain feels like, yeah, but there's something here, I'm getting somewhere, there's a purpose for this, maybe I don't really know what it is right now, and I really don't want to believe that there is because I hate this pain and all this, but there's still something inside that's like, yeah, but this is right, you're on a life path. You're learning, okay? So this is not to say that if you're not blissed out, you're on a death path. Of course not, okay? We're going to figure this out as we go along. But this is to say that we need to tune into this pain-pleasure thing and start to understand pain and pleasure much deeper than we've been experiencing it if you want to live a life of your dreams where you are really living the life of your dreams and you've changed your values enough to do that. So that's that. Now, let's look at why we have to change our values to live our life of our dreams. The reason we have to change our values to live the life of our dreams is because the reason we were in pain to begin with. So anyone who said, I've set out to find this life of my dreams, if you trace it back to where that started, Why did you want to go and live that life? Why did you want to go and find that dream life? Why did you want to go and get to this new place? If you really look back, you're going to realize that where it started was pain. You were in pain. You didn't like the life you were living. This could have been literally your whole childhood, right? This pain could have started from forever. It could have been you were born and you were in pain and you wanted to change your life. Everything that you've done has been to try and change what you were doing. It could be that you had a nice childhood, but somewhere along the way you started realizing you didn't feel good. Anyways, it's all going to boil down to there was pain somewhere that you wanted to change. And now some of us really bought the ideas that came from the Matrix. If I just get the job, get the spouse or the significant other, get the money, get the body, get the whatever, I'm going to be happy, okay? Some of us bought that and we went after that. Some of us bought the, like, this just isn't right, I don't know what's not right about it, and I'm going to try and create a totally different life, but I don't really know where I'm going with that either, okay? And so most of us started with, we're in pain, we don't really know what's going to make us happy, we think we are either going to reject the system and that's what's going to make us happy, or we're going to succeed in the system and that's what's going to make us happy. And if we get there, all of us can get there. We can get to the point where we've succeeded in the system. We have the job, we have the money, we have the body, we've been able to white knuckle our way to like do all this self-improvement shit, and it worked. We got what we wanted out of the Matrix. We got there and we're not happy. Okay, so that's part of the first category of people. Or the second category of people is you got out of it, you rejected it, you got your property where you're living whatever, you're off grid and da-da-da-da-da, and you're rejecting the system, you're rejecting society, you're rejecting your family, and you're not happy there either. And so we're like, what gives? Is there even a way of being in life that equals not being in pain? Because it seems like there isn't a way to actually live that's gonna be happy. Because like if the Matrix life isn't gonna make me happy, and this rejecting the Matrix life isn't making people happy either, we can easily look around and be like, no one's happy, what the fuck is this? And this is where we want to have this heavy conversation, which is this, okay? The way the Matrix is set up is not 100% wrong. It's going at what is actually going to make the human being happy, just in an obfuscated way. So this is why we can't go full force at the Matrix, the way the system is set up, nor can we go full force rejecting it. We have to be able to be complex enough to see what it is we're actually trying to get out of the Matrix, how we actually get those things, and move towards it in a real way. So what the Matrix is promising us is that retirement syndrome, right? That heaven, that you're going to get the body, you're going to get the job, and then you're going to be happy forever. Okay, that is not a total lie. There is absolutely a place we can get where there is a certain amount of heaven, where we can be happy all the time, in the sense of that deep underpinning joy, because we understand where it actually comes from, being on a life path. The one thing that feels good is being on a life path. What is required to be on a life path? You're learning, growing, and changing. That's it. So this promise of heaven, where we can feel good all the time, totally exists. It just does not exist in an external permanent circumstance, and it doesn't exist in an internal permanent circumstance. It actually exists in an external and an internal completely impermanent circumstance, which is you have come into a place where you fully love to learn. You are enjoying the journey. That is really the value system that needs to change. Now, let's look again. If we look at the way the Matrix is set up, everything is virtual reality. Our money is virtual reality. Our relationships are virtual reality. Our technology is virtual reality. The stuff we're trying to do with our bodies is virtual reality. Our education system is virtual reality. Now, what do I mean by virtual reality? I mean, it's not based in anything real. Nothing connects to anything else. Everything's isolated. Everything's just its own little thing. Everything is an intellectual thing that we think if we just understand it, we'll be good. It's all virtual. The real truth of life is, if you truly understand something about your body, you do it in your body. You understand something about nutrition, you eat that way. It's not an understanding and then you're good. If you really understand something about relationships, you do that in your relationships. You live that way in your relationships. This idea that we can process things and then be good is wrong. So that's the second thing that the Matrix offers us that is not real. The self-improvement path that says as long as you're doing all the right things, you'll be happy. No. If you're actually doing the right things, you will feel good. You won't have to wonder, am I doing the right thing? If you're not doing the right thing, you're going to be like, I don't really feel that good. I don't feel good. I don't feel like this is getting me where I want to go. But on the surface, this is all right. So why doesn't this feel good? Because it's not true. So we're going to talk about this in the education video, okay? But what we're really getting at here is this. In order to live your dream life, in order to be happy, we must be on a life path. That is what is going to feel good. Now, the Matrix and all the values of society are in alignment with death. So this is the big thing we need to understand. Okay? The way that humanity understands food and the body is death. We don't understand what actually creates life. And so to live in the values of being thin and lean or being ripped and cut or like eating healthy or eating clean and blah, 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 it's not totally wrong. Okay? But it's not totally right either. It's a death path because we're trying to make it, this is the answer, and then you can figure out the answer and never have to change again. That's what makes it the death cycle. The thing with relationships is you'll just find that perfect relationship and then you'll be great. No. You're going to find the awesome relationship and you're going to be working on it forever. You're going to be learning, growing, changing within that relationship for the rest of your life. That's what a real life-generating relationship is. In your career, it's going to be creative self-expression that changes all the time. In finances, that whole system is just completely made up. Abundance is reality. The reality, nature provided everything we needed. We have the sun, we have wind, we have food that grows. We didn't need to do any of the shit that we did to colonize and populate the earth. However, it's good that we did it because it has helped us develop technologies that the primitive people didn't have to harness the natural environment in order to create even more abundance for the humans. So we can't look at this transition through the Industrial Revolution as being wrong because it gave us technology that we can now use, right? Because the primitive people couldn't harness the abundance of the earth. Yes? So they needed each other. They needed their primal groups to like try and fight for survival. We have developed technologies now and understandings moving forward about how all these things work. We've broken it all down. We've seen it all in pieces. We've seen it all in fragments, coal, oil, gas, electricity, blah, blah, blah. We've seen how all that works. We understand harnessing electricity. We understand harnessing power. We understand storage. We understand all these things. Okay, now we can apply those understandings and bring them back to the understanding of the earth, right? So the primal people who understood the earth, us who understand technology and how to harness it, we can put those two things together, North and South Pole coming together, and we can create a technology that works with reality so that we can have abundance. Okay, so this is where we're going. But what that requires, again, this moving forward requires an evolution from the value system of everyone and everything. So this is where I was getting with my stuff, right? That I've discovered how to live in a way that's life-generating for me. I'm causing less and less and less harm to the environment, to myself, to everyone else, because everything is connected. This is what being on a life-generating path is. It's seeing where you were causing destruction, cleaning that up, and then not doing that anymore. Living in a new way where you're not causing destruction. That is what feels good. Being creative, adding to, is a huge part of it, right? Perception trainers, all the writing that I do, I'm adding to the conscious awareness. But at the same time, in my personal life, I'm decreasing, I'm cleaning up the mess that I was born into. So this is the huge key that we got to understand. We were all born into a system that is dependent upon destruction. Do you understand this? The food system is dependent upon destruction. In order for us to keep eating the way we eat, we have to keep destroying the earth. It's dependent upon destruction. The financial system is dependent upon debt, destruction, not having it. The medical system is dependent upon people being sick. If everyone was healthy, that whole business would fall apart. Do you see what I'm saying here? The consumerism, everyone who needs to buy everything, the value system of having the latest clothes and the latest technology and all this, it's all built upon stuff that is designed to fall apart, because the economy cannot function if we're not continuing to throw things away and buy new shit. If we actually had something that was functional for a long period of time and then just degraded, every industry that we have of consumerism would fall apart. So our economy is fake. It's based on all these values of destruction. So what you're really realizing when you notice your pain and this life, I don't want to be living this life. I don't like this. I don't understand what's going on. What you're feeling is the reverberations of the pain and the suffering that you are in and that you are causing by being a part of a destructive society. Because that is what we are. Period, end of story, bottom line. You drive a fucking car, you eat meat, you eat dairy, you use medicine, you run electricity, you fly in an airplane. We're causing destruction. Now, does this mean we should sit here and feel guilty and like we should just off ourselves because look at how destructive we are? No. This is what time is. Time gives us the grace to see the pain we're in, to figure out why we're in that pain, and then to change. So this is what I really want to say about my life, okay? I was the type of person that was born in existential crisis. Everything felt horrible, and I thought there was something wrong with me, that I couldn't do life and be happy the way everyone else could. I couldn't eat and feel better like everyone else could. I didn't care about buying stuff. I couldn't placate myself with TV. None of the numbing shit worked for me. Now, I am an individual case where numbing didn't work, whereas for most people numbing does work. But so what I can say is this, okay? How I learned this whole value system that needs to change, is through my journey with anorexia. So what happened with anorexia is there's a truth of how the body and how we need to live in order to be life generating. Then there's stepping outside of that, which is the world I was born into, which is the world we were all born into. I was born into a country that burns electricity, that burns coal, that burns gas, that drives cars, that eats food that isn't for humans, that, right, consumes at the detriment of everything. I was a part of that system. So my inherited pain was being born into a system that necessitated that I was causing destruction to myself and to the planet because of the law of unity or karma, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you do to yourself, you do to everybody else, because we're all connected. If you're causing harm to someone else, you're causing harm to yourself. If you're causing harm to yourself, you're causing harm to others. And that is what makes us feel pain. That is where our pain comes from. So there's alignment living, there's moving out of alignment living, there's the pain that tells us, hey, you're out of alignment. You're killing yourself. That's what pain is. That's all it is. And then because in our world, we don't want to deal with the pain and we don't want to change so that we can be living in a way that's life generating, because we don't even see that that's a thing anymore. We don't think that's a possibility, or we've obfuscated that we can have it in this fake system that's partial. We distract and numb in order to get rid of our pain. So what happened with me was, right, born into the system, take on anorexia because that was my distraction. Okay, so born into system that's out of alignment. So not even in alignment, just born straight into out of alignment, which means pain is there. And then my distraction was anorexia. I was like, I'm just going to control my calories. I'm going to do this whole thing, right? And then one day I'm sitting on the couch during my recovery and I'm like, shit, all my pain from my relationships, my body, all the pain that I've always had my whole life is all still there. Anorexia didn't get rid of any frickin' part of it. I was distracted enough to think that I had. I really was. In my anorexia, there were moments where I was like, no, I got this. I'm on the path. I'm ready. I'm better. I'm blah, even though I was crazy. I sat there and I was like, so all of that is still there. And now I have a disease that I have to heal. So that right there was when I decided no more distraction. because distraction just makes it so that we have another problem. So I decided to get rid of my distraction, and I started to move to, so I did all the work to try and heal the anorexia. I got pretty far with that. And then it started to be like, okay, now here's the roots of your pain, right? You can't keep living here. You can't keep doing this stuff. You can't keep having these values. And so I was moving, till I got to this place where it was like, okay, now there's the breaking point. I can't keep living like how everyone else is living. I can't keep doing what everyone else is doing if I want true happiness. Because so long as I'm causing destruction to myself or to others, I am going to be in pain. My pain as an adult now is no longer inherited pain. This is now pain that I'm choosing to involve myself in. And we have to realize that. As adults, we now have the responsibility to say, if I'm in pain, I have to figure out why I'm in pain, as in where I am participating in destruction, and how to move out of that. And what this requires is that we really deeply look at why we're doing what we're doing. So this is the value system part of this. This is the diving deeply into what we value and why we value it, and figuring out if those values are in alignment with life or if they are not. Okay, so this is the big key. Your pain that caused you to go after your ideal life came from us understanding somewhere inside of you that the life you were living wasn't working. It wasn't giving you the life you wanted. Pain comes from being out of alignment with truth. Now, the way we are going to get back or to truth for the first time ever, for most of us being born in the system, number one, is to realize our pain in so many ways was not our fault. We walked into it. We were born into it. We were born into a system that necessitated we be in pain, because we are born into a system that is out of alignment with reality. It's out of alignment with truth. It's out of alignment with life generation, because it is trying to segment the truth. It's trying to find pieces, and this is right and this is wrong, black and white thinking, up and down, left and right, one of these two things, instead of understanding unification. Yeah? I can destroy the cow for my dinner, and because I liked the taste of it, it's fine. No. I can just pray over my cake, and so long as I'm putting positive vibes into my cake, it's going to be good for me. No, that's impossible. Because in order to make that cake, destruction had to happen. And therefore it has to destroy your body. There is no separation. There's no such thing as something that's good for you that's bad for everybody else. There's no such thing as something that's bad for you that's good for everybody else, because we're all connected. So we start to see that we have taken on values where either we're allowing ourselves to destroy the external, thinking it's going to give us pleasure, or we have allowed ourselves to sacrifice ourselves, thinking it's going to give the external pleasure. We're going to fix the world by sacrificing ourselves. We're going to fix ourselves by sacrificing the world. And this is where we need to realize that our values are totally out of alignment. That we're not seeing that we are a part of a whole that has now a personal responsibility to take care of that which we are, the individual that we are. Because here's the kicker. As a part of the whole, the one part of the whole that you have any say over is the part that you are. So if you want to live in a world where there is less destruction, where there is less pain, where there is less chaos, where you are creating and not destroying, the only place you can do it is within yourself. You have to start to realize where you are sacrificing yourself thinking it's going to help other people, where you are sacrificing other people thinking it's going to help yourself. And you need to see that there is pain there. There is always pain there. And that's going to show you where your values lie, right? So either the value of I'm the savior, I'm going to save everybody, and so therefore I'm the victor, everyone else is the victim, and I have to save them, which is a false thing. Or I'm the victim, right? I'm the victim, so I just have to be out for myself, get what I can get for me, do what I need to do for me, and everyone else is victimizing me, everyone else is wrong, everyone else is horrible, and I can hate them, and I can judge them, and I can condemn them and I can do all these things to them so long as it's good for me. And that's what's going to make me happy. Neither of those things are true. The true value system is understanding that we are all connected and that the one place of power you have within that is within your own choices. And once you realize that it's not about changing the world and it's not about getting yourself out of the world, it's about aligning yourself with that which is life generating. So now looking at all the places in your life where you are not in alignment with life generation, this is what's going to change everything for you, okay? Because here's the next thing that we need to understand about a life generating path. It's not about perfection. It's not about, I know now that I'm causing no harm. That's not what this is. We have time. We have the grace of time, which says, so long as you are seeing the next place where you are causing yourself pain by either sacrificing yourself for others, sacrificing others for yourself, you are going to start to see that. You're just going to see, whoa, I'm eating meat. Maybe I should look into that. Yeah, it's going to be just this next thing. And you just do the next thing that causes you to come closer into alignment with less harm, more life. And that's it. And you just do that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's what this is. Now, as we move forward, right? So you're either, as you're starting to do this, you're going to start to realize you have values that are matrix values that you're going to have to let go of. The having the nice things, the new clothes, the latest phone, the looking good on the outside. You're going to start to realize you can't keep holding on to that. So and you're going to see that value of looking good is systemic. It's in everything that you're doing. And it's obfuscating the truth because, right, this value of looking good versus actually being good is messing us up. Because, and to understand it's not totally wrong, right? To look healthy is something that is true, right? When we are truly healthy, we're going to look a certain way. And it's going to be attractive. But if we go about trying to get that result, right? So we're trying to get the end result of health, which is what we call beauty, without actual health, right? We trick ourselves into thinking we have this beauty, which is really what we want is health. We want health. We don't really want beauty. We want beauty because beauty represents health. So you see what I'm saying here? If we just get the representation, we just got beauty, but we didn't get health, we're not going to be happy. Because we don't have health, which is the thing we wanted, which is the thing that's life generating. We want money. Why do we want money? Because we want to be in a place where we understand abundance. We have abundance, so we can keep living. So we get money, which is a fake version of abundance. We don't feel satisfied because it's fake. It's not something that's actually going to sustain you. You see what I'm saying here? We really have to start to look at what do I want and why do I want it? I want what I want because I believe in my mind it's going to give me a better opportunity to survive. That's what I value. I actually value learning and growing and changing. But it's getting the thing that looks like that or getting out of looking like you got out of the thing which you think is negative, looking like you're in a different thing, but you really still have all the same old values, feels the same because you're not actually life generating yet. When you're truly life generating, it's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels. So this is the big thing. When you're truly getting to this dream life, it's not going to be how it looks. It's not going to be what it sounds like. It's not going to be what you think about it. You're going to know by how you feel. And you can't fake how you feel. You're not going to be able to fake being at peace when you're neurotic. And the thing is, most of us are so neurotic we don't know what peace feels like. So we do all these things like meditate and go to yoga and eat vegan food and do all these things to try and manufacture peace. But if those things aren't leading you to seeing where you're causing harm so you can stop causing harm, it's not going to give you peace because it is not a meditation or a yoga or a vegan food deficiency that caused your neuroses. It's where you're causing harm that is causing your neuroses. Because where you're causing harm, you're killing yourself, right? You're killing your environment. You're like cancer. You're going to kill yourself. You're sacrificing yourself for the environment. you're going to kill yourself. And you are a part of it. So the more you're killing yourself, the more harm you're causing, the worse you're going to feel. So this is why when we have these really deep, heavy, painful emotions, we feel desperately unhappy. This is why we need to understand we're not going to just do 5 little things and make a little change to our job or just get a different body or blah, blah, blah and be blissed. Because if you were that close to bliss, you'd be feeling really good right now. If you were that close to the non-harming, life-generating path, you'd be feeling very, very good. This is the thing. The closer we get to this life-generating path, and then when we're actually on it, life feels good pretty much all the time, even when there's crazy shit going on. It's not external. It's not circumstantial. It's not something you can put your finger on. It's a feeling inside. I feel like this is moving me forward. And then you're going to see the ripple out effect. Okay, so there's going to be the feeling at first, but then you're going to be able to look at your life and be like, yeah, no, I'm causing less harm. I saw where everything I ate was wrapped in plastic and I went organic. I saw where I was contributing to this thing of destruction. I changed and now I feel better. So this is the big thing. The thing that's really going to make us happy, again, over and over, I've said it a million times, but I'm saying it again. The thing that's really going to make us happy is coming into alignment with that which supports life. That's it. That's as simple as it is. Now, that which supports life is creation, fun, expansion, learning, growing. So there's going to be going through the painful emotions, right? We have to visit those painful places because that pain is the information where we are out of alignment, right? If your hand is on a burner and you've been taking a painkiller, right? The burner is destroying your hand. That's happening because your hand is on the fire. It's not a mindset issue. It's not something you need to forgive. It's not something you don't understand, but your hand is on fire. It's destroying cells and tissues. That's what causes pain. You're taking a painkiller and you can convince yourself it's not happening because it doesn't hurt so much because I've got this painkiller. Distraction, stuff, sex, movies, food, meditating all the time, being on a self-improvement path, white knuckling your way into doing the right thing, being good, helping other people, that when you're sacrificing yourself, all of these things are band-aids, okay? Things we're taking to not feel the pain. We stop taking those things. That's the first step. Let go of your addictions. Start to see where you're addicted and start to not do those things anymore. Just watch what happens. And you're going to be like, no, because then I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in so much emotional pain. I'm in this really dark place when I don't have this thing. Yeah, because that pain is showing you this is how much out of alignment with life you are. And most of us were born into it. So this journey back to a life-generating path is long, and there's a lot to it because pretty much every element of life that we live in the normal life is causing destruction. So a lot has to change. But again, remember, so long as you're moving in incremental steps towards that which is life-generating, it's not about change everything overnight and be perfect. It's never about that. So please do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. It is step by step by step by step. Every single step you take where you say, okay, I see what this is, right? I feel this pain. I look at this pain. Oh, it's because my hand's on the burner. I'm going to take my hand off the burner. That step alone is going to make you feel so much better. Now, there's all this destroyed cells and tissues that need to get fixed, right? Yeah, and probably what's going to happen, you're going to put your hand on the burner. No, okay, no. This is what we do. We go back and forth, back and forth. We see something where we're causing destruction. We go for it. We go back. We go back. Eventually, we stop doing it. Okay, great. Now we have all this mess to clean up. We have all the destruction that we've caused, all the chaos that we've caused with our codependencies, with our eating disorders, with our matrix values. If I just make it look like it's supposed to look, I'm going to feel how I'm supposed to feel. No. The thing that's going to make me feel how I'm supposed to feel is actual alignment with actual truth. That isn't very obvious. Okay, so this is the next thing that we need to understand, that I'm not giving you the answer for what actual truth is, because you're going to have to find it for yourself, right? If you're going to ask me, yeah, but Allie, what is truth? What do I do? Okay, look at where you're causing destruction. Look at where your pain is showing you. You're in pain. I'm in pain in my relationships. Where's the destruction? I'm in pain in my body. Where's the destruction? Where's the separation? Where's the battle? I'm in pain in my work. Where's the destruction? Where's the separation? Where's the battle? I'm in pain with my finances. Where's the destruction? Where's the battle? Look for those things. This is what we start to do here. And then we start to move towards reducing that destruction. And it's every single step you take, right? You take the hand off the burner, you're going to feel better. You put some salve on the hand, you're going to feel better. You take nutrients to help rebuild your tissues, you're going to feel better. You put your hand out in the sun, it's going to feel better. Every step you take is going to feel better than the last. So this is not about saying we have to be at perfect before we feel good. Not at all. It's going to be continually upheaving the things that were causing damage. Continually looking, continually mulling through this and saying, okay, there's another area of damage. Where can I rectify? There's another area of damage. Where can I rectify? There's another area of damage. Where can I rectify? And as we do this, you're going to notice, right? You're cleaning up your diet. You're cleaning up your relationships. You're cleaning up, you're changing your job. You're moving locations. You're doing these things that just seem like the next most logical step. So you don't need to figure out this whole big thing. It's just going to be the next most logical step. So I'm going to tell you about my story, okay? I was in Vancouver, British Columbia, living in a metropolitan city, working shitty, receptionist jobs. So much of my life was destruction. And I was destroying myself with my idea that the whole world's in pain and I have to fix it. So I'm going to work myself to the bone every single day in my job. I'm going to do everything that I can possibly do to do everything for everybody else so no one else has to feel pain. And I was miserable and scared and crazy. We started moving towards simplifying our lives. We got rid of all of our shit. Really, we went minimalist. I moved to a place where I could eat food that's closer to nature. I don't need all the plastic. I don't need all the whatever. We got rid of our car. We started, because again, right? Of course, I moved to Thailand. I got an online business where I could do this. I did a lot of work. So here's the big thing. Getting out of society's values is a lot of work. Cleaning up the mess that we are making is a lot of work. And this is why it's so important to understand that it's not about fixing everybody else. It's not about waiting on the world to change. It's not about what they're doing. If something someone else is doing is bothering you, you need to say, okay, they're showing me an area where they're causing destruction. Where am I doing the same fucking thing? That's why it bugs me. Because the only power I have is to clean up my own mess. And when I clean up my own mess, I have exercised my greatest power to change the planet. This is what we need to understand. It is a lot of work to clean up our own messes. So you do not have time. You don't have energy. You don't have resources to worry about cleaning up the messes of other people. You don't. This doesn't mean we can't help each other. This doesn't mean we don't serve each other. Of course, we're all connected. But the thing is, if you're running around vigilanteing it, if you're running around protesting, if you're running around trying to get everyone else to see how damaging they are, you're not doing it. Do yourself. You do the thing that you do. Live the example. So this is the other big thing, is that I'm realizing this. All that I can really provide for anybody is this message through my own life experience that there's another option. We don't have to do completely bought into the matrix. We don't have to do reject the matrix and just be miserable. We don't have to do miserable. There is another option. But it requires we clean up our own mess. It requires we start to become aware of where we are causing destruction based on our faulty value system that we adopted as children. And so how we do this, again, is look at the pain. Where is the pain showing you? What hurts? What in your life hurts to do? Now, why does that hurt? Why does it hurt? What is the value system beneath it? Why do you think you have to do it? Why do you think you can't do it? What's going to happen if you do it? What's going to happen if you don't? Where's the damage? Where are you rejecting who you are for the tribal love of other people? So this is the big thing, okay? This is the big value that we all have, that we all need to question, which is, if I'm doing something different, I'm going to get rejected by the tribe and then I'm going to die. This is the fundamental value we're all having to deal with. Everyone else is on the death path. That is what makes us acceptable. Okay? This is the fundamental value. Everyone else is on the death path. And either being on the death path with them or feigning that you're going to save them from the death path is what makes people like you. This is what it is. You're either a victor or a victim. So if you're not a victim with them, I'm on the death path, there's nothing else I can do, I'm just on it with you. I'm a victim too. Or I'm not a victim, but I'll save you. I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll drag you. You just lay down. You just keep doing your thing. You don't look at yourself. You don't take responsibility. You keep being a victim. I'm going to rescue you. These are the two values that have us fucked. It's the victor-victim mentality. You need to step outside of that. See where you are victor-victim, where you're trying to save people and where you're just aligning with the victim mentality. There's nothing you can do. Step into, this is my power. I can change myself. I can come closer and closer and closer into alignment with that which is life generating for me. I can look at where my pain is and I can stop doing it. So yes, people are going to reject you because you are going to be showing them where their false limiting beliefs are false and limiting. Because if you heal your body, there's no longer an excuse that it's just genetic and I couldn't do anything about it. You figure out your financial situation, there's no longer an excuse of this is just hard, we can't do anything about it. You figure out your relationships, you're no longer causing harm, there's no longer an excuse of, well, relationships are just like this. You see? They're going to be upset with you. Now, if they're not upset, they're going to be like, tell me how you did it, do it for me. And you're going to say, no, I can't. All I can do is show you what I'm doing, what I did. Okay, so like I'm saying in this video, what I did. I left my life. I left my family. I left my family values of we are sick and there's nothing we can do about it. I left my family values of we are the good guys that just get shit on all the time. This is like a huge thing in my family. I was like, no. If I'm a good person, if I'm really truly good, good things happen to me. And if shitty things are happening to me, it's because I need to learn from them. I'm not a victim. If my body is sick, it's my responsibility to clean it up. If I'm causing harm, and my job isn't creative the way that I want it to be. That's my job. I have to fix that. So you take responsibility for yourself. This is the big value that changes. You stop doing everything for everybody else. Because this is what you're doing. You're either working on yourself to save other people, you're doing what you're doing so that other people will like you and other people will approve of you. You're doing things so that you don't make other people uncomfortable. You've seen where you're causing destruction, but you don't want to change because you can see that that's going to make everyone else uncomfortable because it's going to make them see it, and you don't do it. Harm. You have to do this for you. That is the value that changes. And you are going to come to realize that when you do, you have done the biggest thing you can do for everybody else because of this concept of unity. You cannot kill yourself to save others. You cannot kill others to save yourself. The part of the whole that you have control over is you. If you want there to be less suffering, less pain, less chaos in this world, you have to bring yourself into alignment. You have to get on the path of seeing where you are causing destruction, causing less destruction, seeing where you can create something of benefit and create something of benefit. And doing that only. Be the example. And then understand that people have the choice to take it or leave it. You can't save anybody, you can't make them do it, and it is them doing it that's going to change. Nothing is going to happen from a mindset shift. You can't talk somebody into a life-generating state. They have to change what they're actually doing. So you can tell them how you did it, how you changed your mindset so that you could do whatever, but they are still going to have to change their actual fucking lives. So you change your life. Figure out what your values are. Realize no one's going to like you. People are going to reject you. You're going to be weird. People are going to be uncomfortable around you, and all that shit is going to happen. Do it anyways. You need to become life-generating. And then you will have the life of your dreams that you can actually enjoy. Because you will see that you are doing everything you can do for the planet, and that the one thing that feels good is to be in alignment with life. So long as you're moving in the direction of being in alignment with life, less harm, more creativity. you're going to be happy. And you're going to be happy forever. You're going to be happy now. You're going to be happy in 10 years. That's where heaven is. Okay? So like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.